Let me show you the initial configuration of Realme GT 7T. So after turning on the phone for the first time, you will have to press this arrow, and after that we can choose the language that you wish to use for the setup. So of course choose English, and then we can go next. Then we can select our region. So let's say I'm gonna scroll down in order to choose United States. There we go. Of course, choose your region in your case and go next. Over here, press next again. If you have two SIM cards inserted into the phone, then most likely you will have to select the default data SIM. In my case, I'm gonna choose this one, and then we can press continue. Now we can set up our phone by using another device. So if you have your old phone, then you can choose whether it was Android or iPhone or iPad, and then you can continue in order to copy settings, accounts, and some other stuff. In my case, I want to perform a clean setup, so I will just press skip over here. Then we can connect to Wi-Fi. You can use the QR code scanner here. You can skip the whole process by pressing skip if you don't want to connect to Wi-Fi. And in my case, I can also just choose the Wi-Fi. Remember that you can scroll down over here. So let's select the Wi-Fi and of course enter the password. Once you enter the password, press save here in the top right corner. After that, press next. Now let's wait for the next screen to appear. Now you have the option to copy apps and data from your previous phone. You can also proceed and press next in order to also choose can't use other device in order to use a backup. And after that, you should be able to sign into your Google account in order to get the backup from your Google account. If you want to, you don't have to copy apps and data. You can just simply press don't copy over here in the bottom left corner. And there we go. Now we have the Google sign-in page. You can enter your email or phone number here and then proceed by pressing next, and then you have to enter the password. You can also create a new account if you don't have one yet, or you can skip the sign-in page by pressing skip button. Now we can choose whether we are using this device or if we want to set it up for our child over here. In my case, I'm gonna use the device, so I'm just gonna press next. Then we have to agree to Google Terms of Service, and let's wait for another menu. Now we can set up the screen lock password. You can either just set up a password, or you can set up a password and scan your finger or your face so that you can use face recognition. If you choose password, then you can choose the password type and then you can proceed. However, in my case, I don't want to do that. Remember that later on in the settings, you can still add or remove the password. So I'm gonna press skip and then let's press later. Now we have Google services, so we can toggle location, we can allow scanning, we can send usage and diagnostic data, and you can decide if you want to use these options. In my case, I'm going to disable location, and then we can press accept in the bottom right corner. Now we can create backups by using our Google account. So you can back up your photos and videos as well as other device data that is listed over here. You can check these boxes in order to decide what should be backed up, and then you can press turn on backup. If you don't want to create a backup, simply press don't back up. And there we go. We are technically done with the initial configuration. If you want to, you can simply leave and get reminder later in order to continue the setup. However, in my case, I'm going to show you what is next. I'm going to just press continue so that at least you know what is next. So over here we have Google Gemini. In my case, I'm just going to press continue. Over here we have the option to activate the voice recognition, so we can say hey Google out loud in order to activate the Google Assistant. Gemini, that is, of course. In my case, I don't want to use it, so I'm going to press no thanks. Then we have Google Pay, so we can set up our card so that we can use our phone to pay with it. But I'm going to skip as well. And then we have some additional options, like we can add another account, we can change wallpaper, you can review additional apps. I'm going to just press no thanks. I don't want to do any of these things. Of course, we can still add more accounts or change the wallpaper in the phone settings. There we go. Now over here we can turn on or off the mobile data. So let's say I'm gonna keep it on. I just returned by accident, so let's press next. Now over here we have additional services like auto update overnight, wallpaper carousel that allows you to change the wallpaper every time you go to the lock screen. I actually am not a fan of this option, so I can just select not now. There's also global search that we can turn on and off, and so on and so forth. So you can decide by yourself what you want to use from this list. So let's press agree. Now we have the option to choose navigation, whether you prefer to use buttons at the bottom of the screen or gestures. In my case, I prefer buttons, so I'm gonna select buttons and then let's press done. And there we go. Press get started and you should see your home screen. So now we can start, for example, adding new apps. You can install new apps, you can run the system update if you want to, you can start configuring your phone by going to the phone settings and so on and so forth. Thanks for watching, leave a like and subscribe.